All right, so tonight's presentation is all about why yesterday's online strategies no longer work and what to do instead. But before we jump into that, I'm just curious to know from people that are here, anyone here sort of noticed there has been a change in your online marketing or online strategies, or you've been doing things back, I don't know, sort of a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, doing the same things now, and it's not working. Anyone had that experience at all? All right, Andrew, yeah. So I'm just trying to see everyone's faces here. All right, anyone else had that experience? All right, so there are some things that have definitely changed and shifted, and they're not going to go back to the way things were before. So what's a good example? Probably an example that everybody will know is social media. How many people have noticed that the reach that you get on social media, we'll use Facebook as an example because they're the worst offender at this. You might get 1 to 10 people that see your post, whereas so 4 or 5 years ago you might get 100 and over 100 people that would see your post. Anyone notice that? Is that quite visible? Like, is it that noticeable? Yeah. So that there is one change, and that there is driven from the platforms themselves. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight are not those changes that are driven by the platforms, even though they do come into the whole equation, but that's not the side of things we're looking at. We're looking at what are the fundamental changes in people's behavior psychology that mean that you're not getting the responses or the conversions today that you were getting yesterday. And when I'm talking about yesterday, I'm talking about a year ago. So this is even a year ago or longer. Certainly if you're doing things of, say, 3 or 4 years old, you really struggle to keep up with some of that sort of stuff as well. All right, so let's have a look at that. So there's been one major thing that has happened in this world over the past couple of years that has had a significant impact on what's happening in the online space. Anyone hazard a guess as to what happened over the past 2 or 3 years? It's probably no big guess, but there was a big
bushfires, floods, and pandemic.
Yeah. So the big one, yes, there are bushfires and floods, but the big one across the globe is this thing here, which is called the pandemic. Massive global change. And what that did was change people's social behavior. And it changed their sort of ways of doing things. And they were quite significant changes. And so no surprise that some of those changes all of us will know that businesses were closed down for some periods of time and that people were locked at home, so they couldn't go out. And so that change there was one of the significant changes that happened. And then in that, you've got people sort of thinking about how do they adapt. So as part of those adaptations are, people are at home, they're locked down at home, they have got no income coming in, or they've got limited income. What are they doing? One is they're probably not spending a lot of money. The second thing is they're looking at other ways to generate cash and to generate money. And where do you do that when you are sitting in your lounge room? Where are your opportunities to go and make money? It's effectively online. So that's one side of things. The other side of things is if you've got people stuck at home and they want to go and buy stuff and they can't leave the house, where do they do that? The only option that's open to them really is online. So hence
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. Yeah, so you've got Amazon there. I think restaurants, some of the ones that did survive had used apps like Uber to get those deliveries out when they could do it. So what happened was that in terms of people's behavior, they started to do things online when they would normally go out and do things in person. Think, well, how does that actually change? We're back to normal now. How does that actually change where we are now? So this is the interesting thing that is responsible for part of that there. So, and I can give you an example of who was it? I was speaking to an insurance broker, and this is right at the very start. And he was a fire and general broker. And he said, I said, you can use Zoom to go and, do your client meetings, or save you a ton of time because you don't have to travel. And his response was, no, that'd never work. I have to be on at my client's premises to see their equipment and to see what is being insured. I can't, it's impossible to do it over Zoom. So, well, you can flip your phone around, or get the business owner to flip their phone around and take you around. He said, no, I've got to be there, got to feel it, got to touch it, so I know what it is. Well, 4 months in, he's doing all of his assessments by Zoom. So these things that people are saying were impossible, they've just discovered now is very possible. So there's been that sort of paradigm shift between them thinking that this can't be done, through to this is the way things must be done. So that paradigm shift, do you think that went away when the lockdowns and pandemic finished? It didn't go away at all. So people already have got that tuned into their mind. What's the other? So Zoom is probably that the main thing that people recognize. And so you will find now that people are still using Zoom for their meetings. You'll find that people are still using Zoom for things like this event here. This event used to be live at 2 venues, one on the Gold Coast, one up in Brisbane. We're still using Zoom for this. And so that there brings around some of the interesting changes as well too. But people are quite familiar with that. The other thing that happened too is when you go shopping, how many people like to pick things up, feel it, smell it? Well, hopefully not taste it, but you're sort of getting that tactile sense of it. And so that's normally people's sort of shopping behavior, to go and browse. When you can't go out and do that sort of thing, how do you get a feel for, or how do you know what it is that you're looking at or wanting to buy? Any ideas about that? Yes, reviews. Thanks, Victoria.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yep. So reviews are definitely one way. Yeah. How else? Star ratings. Yep. That sort of links in with reviews as well too. How else do people start to make those decisions? Video. Yep, absolutely video. And in fact, how many people have seen those? And these started to happen before the pandemic, but they became really big during the pandemic. What do they call it? Unboxing. Where you're unboxing goods. Have you ever seen those videos? So people receive packages in the mail and they film themselves unboxing the package. And so it becomes a big show. Some of these things are like half an hour long, 3/4 of an hour long. And so they pull out all the things, they explain what they are, how it works, how it all clips together. So these unboxing videos became quite popular. And so people knew what they were buying. So that was another way. So that's a way of almost getting, you're getting someone else to feel it for you and touch it for you. But you get a sense of what you would normally be doing if you're in a shop having all these products. So these unboxing videos became quite popular. But one of the big ones obviously is star ratings and reviews, but also comparisons. So people were comparing across a number of websites. So if you're in a shop or a premises, then there's probably not a lot of shops around that are similar in nature for you to go and compare things. But when you're online, people can open up a bucket load of tabs. They can go and visit all the websites. They can have a look at, sort of compare these products. They can go to comparison sites. They can get reviews and ratings on all of them. And so they end up doing lots and lots of comparison. So one of the behavior changes is that people were comparing things more during those past 2 to 3 years than they ever did beforehand. So your products and services that you're selling, they are comparing it to other people's now. So don't discount that because they're doing that all the time now. Does anyone here do that sort of thing already? So make those comparisons if you're having a look at products and things online. Yeah, so some of us, okay. I know I do it all the time. I've done it for a while, but this has become part of people's psyche. Yes. So, yep, people are sort of doing those comparisons. So,
I can add to that for you, because there can be quite a much more rigorous and varied process in that than just going down to the local shopping centre where you've got a limitation of retailers and product to choose from. Like I've just done that in the last few days. I needed a portable SSD drive, very high speed, to be able to stream and record. So I thought, okay, what brand? I've got specifications that I have to meet. What brand, and then what model, and where to buy it from.
Yep.
And it all came down to about half an hour to an hour's work. And I placed an order and I got it 12 hours later.
And sometimes you can get these things incredibly quickly as well, particularly with places like Amazon. You can do your whole shopping there. In fact, what people do with the likes of Amazon as well too, this is pre-pandemic, is that they would go into shops, and there was an example of footwear. Going to a footwear shop, they'd actually go and try the shoes on that they liked. They get to choose the one which was their preferred one, and then while they're in the store, they order the same thing on Amazon because they could get it cheaper. Yeah. And it was going to be delivered that afternoon or the next day, so they'd have it in a reasonable length of time. So they get the experience of trying it on to see whether it fits and whether they like it, and then they can order it at the price they want. So that sort of stuff was happening, pre-pandemic. But during pandemic, this is when the unboxing became popular because they couldn't go and try these things on. But that's where returns became really important as well too, so that people could return things and get them replaced. And that's really where Amazon really sort of has it over most other places as well too, whether we like Amazon or not. Here's the problem also. If people are just doing all their research online, as opposed to going and speaking with someone or being in store, what are they missing out on? Or what are you missing out on as the business owner or working in the business?
Social interaction.
Social interaction. And what does that do?
Gives you the warm and fuzzies.
Warm and fuzzies, absolutely. So, how you get to meet someone and you decide whether you like them or not. And I don't know, the first 30 seconds of conversation with them, and then you sort of talk about things of common interest. And that's one of the things that sales people are really good at, or even, people that are business owners are good at because they're passionate about what they do. You get that social interaction. Often people would buy because you have interaction, and you're able to do things like, look, can see how good this is going to be for you. Why don't you just come on to it? And so, but when people are online, you miss out on that interaction. So I think, how can you get that sort of interaction in there? And that's one of the difficulties. And what it's done is it's shifted the power dynamic of, from you as the business owner and the person that is making the sale, so to speak. The power dynamics now shifted to the customer. So rather than you being in control of that interaction by asking the questions and answering the questions and giving them gentle prods along the way, when they're doing their own research online, they are now in control of that interaction because they're now making decisions, they're asking questions, and they're having to find the answers for themselves. So you're not even involved in that equation at all. So whether that be email or website or social media, they're not involved in that. You're not involved in that at all when they make their decisions. So they may make a wrong decision, and you know that they're making the wrong decision, but there's nothing you can do about it. Does that make sense? So
yes, but
yes, but.
It depends on the product or the service. Now, I don't expect or ask anybody to ever buy any of my services online. There's always the big call to action is call me.
Yep.
And
but you will find too is that so those calls to action are really important as well too, and we'll come to those calls to action because with this new environment, your calls to action need to change as well too. So the calls to action that you had, and I'm not sure whether you've found this or not, Paul, you know, whether it's going up or down. You're offering quite a specific service, so it probably doesn't really impact you very much, but it will impact other people. So the calls to action are going to be different for a lot of businesses now. So where was I with that? Lost my train of thought. So your customer is in control of the interaction now, rather than you, the business owner, or in the business being in control of that. And so if you have got a poorly developed website that doesn't explain things very well, you're at the disadvantage of someone that has got an exceptional website that really does explain well, you know, what you do. So, businesses could get away with a not very good website in the past. Really difficult to do that today. And I know that when I was early on in my web development career, I probably had the worst website out there. It was not a demonstration of my what I was offering and what I could do, but I could get away with it because I could talk to people, and they bought on the basis of what I knew, and I was able to communicate with them. If the one of the primary mediums for communicating with people is your website, then that there needs to be top and center, and you need to sort of relook at that and redevelop that so that the questions that people are asking, you know, they're asking these questions because they're the same ones that they've been asking you when you met in person. You answer those on the website, and you need to get them sort of thinking about. You need to get into their brains so that they feel like you're answering questions that they have not yet quite formulated and haven't known how to formulate, yet you're answering questions there that are in their brains, and they're thinking, that's me. So if you can start to do that, so you're articulating their problem and or the questions they've got better than they can articulate it themselves, particularly if they're not quite there in terms of how to articulate it, then that's the sort of thing that starts to win the day. How do you find out what questions they've got in their heads that they haven't even spoken about yet? Any idea how to find that? There's one really good place. That's Facebook. Ask questions, ask the audience. Yeah, okay. So there's two things there. One is Facebook. Go into Facebook groups where your audience hangs out. Doesn't necessarily be for the product or service that you are necessarily selling, but it's for the problem that you're solving. So roundabout, that's a problem you're solving. Go into there, see the sort of questions that people are asking. That's one way. The other way is to actually go and ask your customers as well. So people that buy and people that don't buy, ask them what are the reasons why they bought, what are the reasons why they didn't buy, what stopped them, what are their real concerns, what are their what is it that they'd like to achieve, so if you start to get into that, they'll give you some answers to that there, and you will find that there are a number of if you ask a number of people, there'll be common words that come through, common phrases that come through, and those are the sorts of terms that you start to use in your copy. And if you start to answer those, then people will. That's when you start to be able to articulate those questions better than other people can themselves. Thanks, Con. And you can use LinkedIn polls. So LinkedIn polls are really good for that as well too. Victoria, you can't ask those questions in groups. No, you're not asking the questions yourself. You're looking for the questions that people are asking, or the concerns that they've got, or the problems they've got. So you're really pulling those out because they've put them in the language, or they're looking for a solution. So you're not asking the questions, you're searching for those for those questions. And the best way to search for those questions is when you go into groups, all you do is search on 6 words. And the 6 words are what, when, how, where, when, and who. So you just put that single word into the search bar in the group, and let's say it's what, it will bring up all posts there that contain the word what. Now, the good thing about that is generally when someone has what in their post, they're asking a question. So, and the same with how. How's also another good one as well too. If people are asking, how do you do this? Is anyway, those how questions are absolutely vital. Though that's where you can get some of your market research done. Is that all making sense?
In today's video, I'm going to show you how we can create this cool little.
All right.
Are you looking for a way to show before and after pictures on your website? We'll keep watching. In this video, I'll walk you through how you can show before and after.
Whoop, was that someone asking a question? No, okay. All right. So here's the first thing. Is the other thing about being online too. Here is the big change for people. One, they're used to things like Zoom now. But what's happened is, what's their attention span like online now? If it was 7 seconds before pandemic, it's now down to about 3 seconds or less. 3 seconds is a long time, and really it is the swipe up, swipe left. So on your social media, it's the scroll is that attention span. So people have got a significantly reduced attention span, and you'll find that people are not reading long pieces of text as well too. So they're used to scanning things and reading sort of headlines, reading memes, and more often or not watching videos. The attention span has gone right down. If you look at some of those short videos online, they are sort of like short, 7-second, 10-second videos, and then they flick to the next one, flick to the next one, flick to the next one, and so that attention span just reduced significantly. So the time that you've got to capture people's attention has really dropped. The other thing that's happened too is that if you happen to run events, I noticed this because I run events. A couple of things have happened there as well too. One is that people don't register for your event right away. So what they're doing is they are looking at, I wonder if something better is going to come along. So they're not committing yet. Because something better might come along. The other thing that's happening is they're not committing yet because they're going to have a look and see who else offers this as well too. And so you'll find that they are searching for your competitors more than they were pre-pandemic as well too. So they're looking at who's got the best program. So that comes back to, if you've got a website that is pretty average, and someone else has got a website that really does speak to the problems and issues that they're really trying to solve, you're going to lose out to them because they're doing their research. And remember, they're in control of the journey. You're not in control of it because they may not even be speaking to you. And then capture their attention as well. You've got a very short time to capture their attention, and that's going to dictate how you do your marketing as well too. So always, and this is worth writing down, is that if you are marketing to sell something, you should never be marketing to sell something. So what I mean by that is that, and this comes down to your call to action that you just mentioned there as well, Paul, is that because people have got such a short attention span, you have one goal in your marketing, and that is to get someone's email address. Now, that's been a fundamental thing right throughout marketing, but it's never been more important than it is now. And the reason for that is that with an email address, you can carry on that conversation. So they might come along and give you their email address, and then they'll disappear off your site. So if you've done some marketing, I don't know, on social media to get them along to your website, to interest them in event, a product, a service that you've got, they may be interested in it, but not just yet. So or they may have a look around and see who else is offering it and which is going to be better. So as soon as they leave your site, they're probably not coming back because they can't necessarily remember it. So by capturing an email address, then now you've shifted the control of that interaction back into your hands from their hands, and now you can you've got this email address to then go and have that conversation with them on email. Now I know that some of you are thinking, but no one reads emails these days. Anyone think that? I know I've got a bunch of emails in my box, and 90% of them get deleted, and only a small percentage of them get read, which are generally personal emails. Marketing emails don't get read, but that's not really the main vehicle that you use for your marketing. Anyone that is interested in what you're offering will read your emails. Other people that are marginally interested may not read it, but they keep seeing your name or your business name appear in their inbox. So even though they haven't read the email, the fact that your name or business name appears in their inbox is enough to keep you top of mind, so that when they are interested, then they'll sort of remember, oh, that guy Ron Beswick, he does this here. I'll contact Ron, or find out a wee bit more about what he's doing. What were the emails? Go to the website, that's doing. So it's keeping it top of mind. I used to publish a newsletter once a week, and the good thing about that newsletter was I didn't have to write it. I published other people's content and sent them to other people's websites. But what happened was my name kept on appearing in their inbox, giving them information that they were interested in. What do you? And when you get sick to death seeing emails, you unsubscribe. Absolutely. So people can unsubscribe, which is fine. You only want the people that are interested anyway, because those that are not interested are never going to buy your products and services. So I lost my train of thought once again. I must be tired today. So you use that, you capture their email address. You can use it for emailing to them. The other thing you can use it for is you can use it for for instance, not sure that LinkedIn's got this capability, although I know they're talking about it. I'm not sure whether it came to pass. Con might know sort of a bit better than I do. But you can upload all of these email addresses into, say, Facebook, and you can create what they call is a custom audience. Now, custom audience, a lookalike audience. So let me take a step back. You create a custom audience first. So Facebook will go and look for everybody that is in their database that has the email address that subscribe to you with, and we'll find their profile. So first of all, you can use that to then target them with your marketing. The second thing that you can do is you can go and ask Facebook to go and find other people with a very, very similar profile to these people here. So chances are, if someone's been to your website and basic example, let's say they've downloaded a lead magnet for something, they've given you their email address. Facebook then says, okay, I'm going to find other people that are of a similar demographic or profile, and those people there, because they're very similar, are probably going to be interested in the same things that the existing email subscribers are interested in. And so what you do with those people is you send them to your website, to the thing that those other people subscribe to, and you'll find a whole bunch of them will subscribe to your thing as well. Bring us back full circle, and you think back to one of the apps and tools that I spoke about tonight, which was the one that you could create games with, or personality quizzes, that sort of thing there. Those are ways of getting people's email addresses without them feeling like they're giving you an email address. So if you are asking people to, giving them something fun to do, like find out what your wealth personality is, or find out what your coffee personality is, or find out, what your artistic personality is, whatever it happens to be, then in order to get their results, so you create it in such a way that it's visual rather than text. So you have images for the questions as opposed to just check boxes. When they get to the end, they don't get their personality test or the results of it until they give you their email address, because you email it to them. And so for them, it's like they're super curious to get it. So they'll put their email address in, you've got their email address, they get the results. And those results are helpful on another level as well too, in that you can use that to segment your list, so that if, and you can segment it into based on the question. You have people that are mildly interested in what you've got there, people who are quite interested, and people that are really, hot. So so the personality quiz, that sort of example there, depending on the answers, can put them into one of those three buckets. So it means you can really focus in on having the conversations with those that are your hot leads, the ones that have really demonstrated an interest, and then you might have some different messaging for those that are only lukewarm to move them into the hot bucket. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just sort of covering off some things at a higher level at the moment, but these tools that that I've shown is right. Well, that one particular tool, you're able to do that, and you get a highly engaged list of people that will open your emails and will be interested in what you are offering. And that hot list as well, if you upload that hot list to Facebook to get a lookalike audience, then you will get more people like that there that will also come through and go through that personality quiz, and are going to be more engaged, and you'll get that same range of responses as well too. So your marketing these days is not just download my ebook. It is, how can we make this fun, engaging, turning it into a game, turn it into sort of something where people are quite happy to give you their email address, because you're going to give them something that they really want. And that might, it might be, are you a dog or a cat person, that sort of thing there. They're just curious about the results of that sort of thing. So you can, so if you pander to people's curiosity, that works wonders.
So you could ask for what do they like best in their chili, dog or cat.
You could do that too. Yeah. Well, that there sort of Paul, it's like you could have your heat test. What sort of chili?
1, 2, or 3.
Are you? Yeah, are you a 1, 2, or 3? And so you'd have questions about that there. And if you happen to be selling chilies, that'd be a great thing. If you are someone like what am I looking at here? Ron, so Ron Beswick here, he deals with the after 50s, is it? So life begins after 50.
Yep, over 50s, yep.
Over 50s. So it would be in your interest to find out whether the people that have done that, let's say, what sort of 50 you might have a personality quiz like, what sort of over 50s are you? Or what's your mental age or body age, so rather than your physical age. So you can have a whole lot of questions around that there. Do you do rock climbing, abseiling, that sort of thing there, or do you prefer to sit back and read a book, or do you prefer to have an early night? That might be one of the answers, one of the quiz questions. And so you can take people through that. And so for someone like you that is working with people and coaching people in that space there, wouldn't it be good to know whether they are a young 50 or young over 50, or whether they're an old over 50 in terms of their mental sort of stuff? That would just change your whole game, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You've generated a whole lot of thoughts and ideas already.
So he creates work for us.
Yeah, he does.
Yep. So even more than that, Ron, is that not only sort of knowing whether their mental age is a young mental age or an old mental age, you can now craft your messaging in your emails to target each of those groups as well too. So no point having a highly active email, sort of one email going out with activities that are quite strenuous to someone who's got an old mindset, because they're never going to be interested in that at all, and and vice versa. So so you can start to now target those people there based on what their interest is, what their language is, and what their hot buttons really are, because you'll know what they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. That's where the hard work is just working that stuff out. But once you start to get people in those buckets, then you can start to send or start to ring them up, or send a questionnaire out, or do something there to find out and elicit, what keeps them awake at night, what their specific things that they want to have solved, what are their real concerns, that you can help them with. And each bucket will be of people will be quite different.
Yeah, and then that's really good, because at the moment we sort of go to that second step rather than the first step that you've just suggested. And get something fun going, so you then get their email and you can then follow up with the next few stages.
Well, the thing with it too is, if you've got something that is it is like gamified, it is fun, then the likelihood is that they'll tell someone else about it as well too.
That's right.
So, so no one's going to tell someone else to go and download your lead magnet, But they will go and say, hey, look, I did this fun quiz the other day. It was, and I found out I've got the I'm 67 years old. I've got the mind of a 20-year-old. They'll tell people that there, and they'll brag about that sort of stuff there. So if you can get people talking about it, then you start to get those organic referrals coming through as well too.
Yep. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for those thoughts.
Pleasure. So so just think about your sole objective when people get to your website is only one thing. And what's that one thing?
Email.
Get an email address. That's it. Get the email address. That's it. Once you've got the email address, there's so many things you can do with it. And in fact, all you need is a list of 10,000 people. If you had a list of 10,000 people, then it's going to be game over. In the terms of, there'll be, and they're reasonably engaged people. When you send out an email with, a program, a product, a service, you will find that if you get a conversion rate of 1%, what's 1% of 10,000? It's 100, isn't it? 100? Yeah, it's 100. Sorry, my maths was never that good at university. I failed it twice. Next time they weren't going to let me back in. But so that's 100 people. But if you've got a list of 1,000 people, what's 1% of 1,000? It's only 10. So the numbers matter. So if you got a 10,000 list versus a 1,000 list, then you've got a much better chance of having a good viable business. So get that email address. So think about it in stages as well. If your prospective customers are in control of the interaction, get the email address so you can bring the control back into your realm. Any questions about that so far?
I'd just like to make a comment, Nick. It's Michael.
Okay, Michael. Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. A website's not enough. Sometimes you see a lot of things these days where they have, designers have competitions and they'll enter this their websites into competitions, and you see some really, really interesting websites with lots of hand coding and some really amazing things that you could spend hours on and it literally not ask you to actually do anything. So it looks very good for business. It looks very nice. People might go, oh, that's pretty.
Yep.
They're not actually going to do anything. So it's a waste of money. So yeah, that lead generation is the primary thing. Absolutely.
Look,
a lot of web developers have no clue as to what a website should do for business.
No, there's a difference between design and lead generation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. What would you rather have? An awful, ugly website that generated you sort of good qualified leads day after day after day, or the a whiz-bang website that's been hand-coded, that got all sorts of funky features in it that you get hardly anything out of it?
flying toasters every time, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So, and some of the best websites in the world. I know there was one there. It's a sales website that they sell stuff, like an e-commerce one. It was built. Looks like it was built back in the 1990s. It's a multi-million-dollar business. They've never upgraded the website. But you see websites that come out today. They look good. And the problem is that most people, business owners, when they get their website built, they go and ask people that are close to them what they think of it, rather than their customers. And so everyone says, "Oh, it's a great looking website. I like the design. I like the colors and all that." But it's not functional because you need to ask your customers. That's the only credible source as to whether it's working is whether people are actually converting off it. And coming along to that too is that a website is not enough. In the old days, a website was enough. You cannot function in business today with just a website. You need to have an ecosystem. And your digital ecosystem is, at the very least, you need a website that is connected to a CRM. So a CRM is a customer relationship management tool. It is the thing that collects your email addresses. When people are running through your quizzes or personality tests or subscribing to your free video series or your ebook. And it is the thing that you set up on autopilot to then start delivering your marketing conversations to them by email without you having to touch it. And then once you get that set up, then you've got a machine that keeps coming on. So very basic thing is you need a website attached to your CRM, and the focus of the website is to collect people's email address, or qualified people's email addresses that have expressed an interest. And you need to find out what their interest is whether they are cold, warm, or hot at the very least, because then you've got 3 email campaigns that go out that are targeting each of those people. Sound like a lot of work? I won't lie to you, it is. But having said that, you just work on one aspect at a time. If you don't have a CRM connected to the website, work on that, get that connected. Once you've got it all connected, work on, what is the mechanism you're going to get to collect that email address. Once you've got that, what messaging are you going to start to send out by email? And so you might start with your hot list, and then you might work to your warm list, and then you might focus on your cold list. So you look for your low hanging fruit. All right, yeah, good questions there. What do we got? So what's a good CRM? Lots and lots of them out there. A good CRM is one that you've got to start with. If you don't have one, then most will do the job, but I wouldn't, to start with, I wouldn't go for one of the high-end CRMs. You could work with, let's think, at the very base end of things, you've got something like MailChimp, but you'll soon outgrow that. But good ones are things like ActiveCampaign, Drip, ConvertKit, and then the next level up are things like Entreport and Infusionsoft. So yeah, but. And there are some industry specific ones. Now, I should say about CRMs, there are 2 types of CRMs out there. One is a sales CRM. The other one is a marketing CRM. So a sales or customer CRM is all about recording people who come on as customers, or at what stage they are in their customer journey. That is not a marketing CRM. That is something for someone who is an account manager or a salesperson to follow up and have a flow of conversation, so they know exactly what's been spoken about. If you've got a number of people that have spoken to the person, all of that conversation is recorded there, and it's an active CRM that your staff or you are in it daily to remind yourself of your conversations that you've had with people. A marketing CRM, on the other hand, so all of those ones I spoke about before are marketing CRMs. An example of a CRM that is a customer or pipeline-based CRM is something like Zoho CRM, Capsule, what else? Salesforce. All of those are, so customer focus, customer management CRMs. Marketing CRMs are your ActiveCampaign, Drips. Infusionsoft is one that covers both of them. and Entreport to some extent. But the marketing ones are all about automating your marketing messaging, so that everybody that comes in to your business by leaving an email address are then taken on a journey, which is an automated journey with your emails being sent out. That makes sense. So you've got two types of CRMs. Sometimes businesses have both of those CRMs because they, depending on what sort of business you've got, because they need to serve up one specifically manage customers, one specifically manage their marketing. I happen to use just one, which is I use Drip, which does marketing. It's very strong on the marketing side of things. It's not as strong on the keeping customer records and that sort of thing there. So but you might use something like Zoho or Capsule or even Infusionsoft for something like that. Flowdesk, thanks Jane. Yeah, that's a good one as well too. I think Flowdesk is that more of a customer management software, Jane, or more marketing?
No, it does the marketing as well. It does really good marketing. Yeah, some really nice templates.
All right, so there you go. Flowdesk is another good one as well too. Okay. All right, any other questions around that at the moment? All right. The other things you think, so that's your ecosystem. The other thing is to look at how does your social media presence interact or a part of your strategy with your website and your CRM as well too. So being strategic with your social media is really important, and that brings us through to your brand. So what is your brand? Anyone here got a strong, solid brand? Or think they've got a strong, solid brand? Yep, Mrs. Red, definitely. Con, yes, you do as well too. So a brand is not your logo. So that's the first thing to reiterate. Your brand is how you show up. It's what people, I heard a good expression there. It's what people say about you behind your back. That's really your brand. But it's things like, I think Con mentioned it before at the start there, that part of my branding is that you always see me in a shirt like this here. So that's a visual part of the brand. But what else does that express? Anyone that wears these sort of shirts is either got to be a nutter or doesn't actually sort of care too much about what people think, or is making a statement about it. And this here for me is quite a conscious choice, because when I was told or taught about putting together webinars, I was told you should always wear a plain coloured shirt. Why? So that all the attention is on what you say. So being and also so visually as well, you haven't got these other visual distractions. So being a contrarian, I thought, well, I'm not going to do that, because if everyone's wearing just one single coloured shirts or single coloured sort of outfits, then I'm going to wear something that's not single colored, that is going to stand out, because it will stand out. That becomes part of the brand. And do you think having something that stands out is important if you're in the business of teaching people about marketing? So it's a marketing. Now, not everyone's going to wear it. People are going to be, there are going to be some people that are be uncomfortable with this. So you wear it with something you're comfortable with. Steve Jobs, what was his signature piece of clothing?
The old turtleneck.
Turtleneck, black turtleneck. So he would wear that all the time, and that was his branding as well. Your branding is also about how you speak. It's about how you communicate with people. It's what people expect of you. It's your personality. All of those things there. It's how quickly you respond to people or how slowly you respond to people. All of that comes into your branding as well too. So here's an interesting thing that happened over COVID. Some of you have heard me talk about this before, is that you know how, and I'm thinking about my daughter at the moment, she loves Adidas. Anything's got Adidas on, she'll buy that. She didn't like it too much when I said Adidas was a brand that I used to wear when I was a kid. They just think it's a new brand. But for her, that corporate brand was really important. But what's happened over COVID is that if you've been investing in a corporate brand for your business, people now no longer care. Because they're online, that corporate brand really sort of means little to nothing if they can't go and physically touch and feel and look at what it is that you do, can't speak to you. They don't care about that. What they do care about is who is the person that's standing behind this. Are they credible? Are they trustworthy? And are they someone that I want to spend money with and spend time with? So you don't get that with a corporate brand, but you do get that with a personal brand. So it's really important if you've got your, when you've got a business, is to not only focus on your corporate brand, but more important to focus on your personal brand as well too, so that people want to be associated with you, because that's how people used to buy. When they were allowed to go shopping, pre-COVID, they would make decisions based on how they felt, and usually how they felt was after a conversation with you. So there was that transference of feeling. When they couldn't do that, they had to find some other means of doing it, and so you need to have a personal brand that communicates it. How do you build a personal brand? A very open question there. Any thoughts on how you build a personal brand? Or where you do that?
Networking.
Networking is definitely a place where you do it. Yep, absolutely.
So I was trying to, sorry, it's my fault. I was trying to find the mute thing to get off. I started talking without that. Building a personal brand is engaging with people ultimately. Where you do it, social media, in person, meeting people in cafes who comment on your shirt, hey Nick, all sorts of places, but it's about engaging with people, not necessarily as such with businesses, but with the people that are key to those businesses.
Yep, absolutely. So that's hit the nail on the head. It's engaging with people, and so social media, whether you like it or not, is part of your marketing mix. So it's not, and there's an interesting comment on Facebook today, from someone who said, "Oh, all I ever see is sales stuff on social media. What's happened to all the social stuff?" That's obviously just in her feed. There are other people that put social stuff up there as well too. What about Facebook? Daryl says media and radio. And then Susie, community, persistency, and consistency, building trust within your network. Absolutely. So, so when you're showing up on social media, you need to be strategic about what your messaging is. Who do you want to be known for? So that's one question to answer is who and what do you want to be known for? And then so all of your messaging is all around that there. There's a chap that I see quite regularly on social media, and I always see him on a jet ski, in a helicopter, on a plane, winging his way onto a holiday, at a beach, at these various different places. His business is teaching people how to make money from home with a side hustle. And he's got a process and program that he runs with that. But what he's demonstrating is the results of, if you are able to do that successfully, what your life and lifestyle could be. So all of his socials are all about his life and his lifestyle. That makes sense because it fits into what he's actually teaching. So what is it that that you're teaching, or what is it you're doing with your clients that you're able to demonstrate on social media in a way that you're not selling, but you're demonstrating the end results? So have a think about that. And if you've got any sort of thoughts about what you want to be known for, just drop it into chat as well too, and then think about how can you show up for doing that there. I'm looking at Jane?
I'm just thinking, I don't know whether I really want to be known for what I do. I draw doodles all day.
Who's doodles?
Yeah, I'm doodling right now.
Doodling, yep. So you've got a great personal brand in the sense that every time I see you, and I think everybody that comes along here, they see you doing a sort of some artwork, doodling in front of you. And that there is part of personal branding. That's how you're showing up. And you've got your social media pieces out there where you are doing your, what do they call it? Speed photography, time-lapse photography.
Time lapse, yeah.
Time-lapse doing art. So that there becomes something that you're known for as well. Look at that. Daryl says, let's make Mrs. Red famous. She's the branded as the doodler. So you're getting all this feedback on Facebook as well. So that's a really good example of showing up and your branding. Who else have we got here? A Con, I know Con there. He's one who uses the LinkedIn platform. He's a social selling warrior. He's a LinkedIn expert. He uses it and he talks about it as well too. So often, if you haven't seen him on LinkedIn, it's all around that LinkedIn. Plus, he's out doing other things. I always see him at networking events. I know that he eats a lot and drinks a lot as well too, because he's always out at networking events. So, you know, what is it you want to be known for, and how do you sort of show up on social media, and should be consistent with your website, so that when they get to your website, it's no surprise that they, you know, this is what you do. Does that make sense?
I have a tagline that got me tagged as a terrorist by Facebook. You know, when I shoot people with a cannon.
Yes. Yeah, you've got to watch out for these fact checkers, don't you? Yeah.
How did they check that fact, Paul?
Sorry?
How did they check that fact?
Oh, I think
They
it was
come over and see if they got shot.
I think it was either a cat or a dog that did it. Yeah, it would be a robot.
All right, so we've just dealt with that. So that's your branding. Make sure, yeah. So really concentrate on your personal branding. One easy way to do that too is if you've got a business website, also set up a personal website as well too for you, and think about that personal website being one as you know, if you're open to speak or be on people's podcasts or that sort of thing, there you can use that as your personal website, and you know, that's where your media kit is and that sort of things. Easy place to build one, which is where I popped one up, which I keep on meaning to develop a full one, is but I haven't, because I've been doing other things. Go to about.me and you can create a personal profile website in about 20 or 30 minutes, and it's a one-page website. Content. So the last thing here is content. What is really important is that you are pumping out content consistently all the time. I get stuck on this because I think, I need to write a blog post, but I don't. I've got probably 15 to 20 pieces of content that get published every day. So so people can't help but notice me and see me in various different places. But you need to be publishing content. You can publish the same content over and over, so you can repurpose it. So I happen to use video. Video is a good place to start because you can turn it into text, you can turn it into audio for a podcast, you can turn them into blog posts using otter.ai to transcribe it. But you just need to be publishing. The reason why you need to be publishing is that if you go to, say, like a networking event or people meet you for the first time, what do you think one of the first things they do is when they get away from you? Any ideas? What's one of the first things they do after they've met you?
Look you up.
Look you up. Where do they do that?
Facebook.
Google. Well, yeah, they do it on Facebook and then they'll Google you. Yep. Content is the king of engage. What? Content is king and engagement is queen. There you go. So that's on Facebook. Thanks, Susie. People are going to search for you. And so you need to at least dominate the first 2 pages of Google for your name. So they can be podcasts that you've appeared on. So it's always good to go on other people's podcasts because they do the marketing for you. That appears in search. Google My Business is an essential. and you need to have at least 200 reviews on Google My Business. And your website needs to be up there. Your socials need to be there, and you think about all avenues where you can dominate the first 2 pages of Google, where all the listings are yours. If you've got a reasonably common name, that is quite difficult, but it's not unachievable. If you've got quite an uncommon name like mine is, I'm about 6 or 7 pages deep into Google search now. And what will happen there too is you think, well, why is that important? What happens is that Google starts to cross-reference your business and your personal name. So as people search for your name, your business will start appearing in those listings, and vice versa. When people start to Google your business, your personal name starts to appear in those listings as well, and that helps to build your credibility, so that when people start to see you, they think you're everywhere. You're pervasive. You're everywhere. If you're everywhere, people think, oh, well, you must be good, because you wouldn't be good if you're, if you're not everywhere.
Hi, I'm Sandy Bartlett. You're cool.
Yeah.
All right. What to do? Well, from here, one is a plan and plot out your ecosystem. What is your digital ecosystem? What are the tools that you're going to use that are going to link together? Second thing is to create a strategy around your ecosystem and your content. So think about how your branding presence on Facebook, your website, LinkedIn, Instagram, if you're on TikTok. And my suggestion is if at all possible, you need to be across all of the platforms, but focus on 1 or 2. So make sure you get, particularly if you're a business name, get them across all of your platforms, but just focus on 1 or 2 of those platforms. Think of a strategy. And so your strategy is how often do you create content? How often do you post? What do you post about? What are the topics? So you'll know, if anyone that knows me knows that I do a Facebook Live every Tuesday around about 10 o'clock. That's just part of the strategy. Everyone knows that we've got this webinar on every Tuesday night, and we've got content that is posted around that there as well. People also know that, like Con, I'm at networking meetings on a fairly regular basis as well, because I post about that sort of stuff. So you think about posting stuff there. That's all part of a strategy that help to position you as the expert in your field. That makes sense? So if we think about your actions from here, what's the one action that you'll take over the next 7 days that will help you with your marketing, so that you're current in terms of today's marketing? What's one thing you do? Drop it into chat. What's that one thing you can do? One thing I should say too is that some of the old strategies actually come around full circle, and they become new strategies again. So who here receives handwritten mail to their letterbox regularly? Well, not too many people. Guess what a good marketing thing might be? Go and send some handwritten envelope with your marketing pieces in. Why? People don't get it. You'll cut through the noise because it's a uncluttered channel there. Try posting the same thing on social media. It's likely to get lost, put into someone's letterbox, and it's hand addressed. People are going to open it. So just think about trends as well too. What's gone around and what's not about. It used to be a thing called lumpy mail, which I used years and years ago. Lumpy mail is when you post something out to someone in an envelope with your it was a sales letter or your marketing piece, but it had something in it that you could feel. It could be a little toy, could be a tea bag, could be a coin. A dollar coin was a popular one. So something there that intrigues them to open the mail. So lumpy mail is a good thing too. All right, what have we got? So get a jolly CRM up and going. Excellent, Paul. I will hold you to that there. We've talked about that sort of a number of times, I think.
We've been talking about it for months. So how about you and I get on the horn and we make it happen?
Great idea. Great idea.
Yeah.
Review where I am in relation to my ecosystem, etc. After months focused on a lot of local work and issues. Yep, good idea, Neil. All right. Google My Business, update there. Absolutely essential. Anyone hasn't got a Google My Business profile, you need one. That is one of the essential tools in your system.
Nick,
All right,
Nick, can I just ask a question? On Google My Business, I went to a session done by the local council. What I got out of it was, if you're in a product-based business, then Google My Business is probably more effective. If you're in a service-based business where you work remotely, you work across Australia.
Yep.
And because it's got, Google nearby, you can find the local plumber, the local Sparky. That might be okay. But in situations like me, and probably you that works remotely, is Google My Business as effective in some way or other?
It's effective from the point of view that even if you're, because your Google My Business profile is fixed to a locality, or at least a geographical area like that. But the most important thing there is getting reviews on your Google My Business profile. So getting reviews. The other thing that a lot of people don't utilize is the website that's on Google My Business. So there's a free website that you can create there. So don't use it as your main website, but you use it to point back to your website. So you can list your products and services, your testimonials, all that sort of thing up there.
Yeah, I find it very useful.
Okay.
If you didn't see it too, there was a session here, if you weren't here for that, mate, here on Bozio, we had a guest here that Nick had on, who was an expert in Google My Business. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, Nick.
That was Carl, Carl Schwantz.
Yeah, Carl,
Yep.
yeah. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and grab that video off the YouTube channel and have a look. That's well worth it, mate.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Thanks.
So yes.
And of the socials, and Con would attest to this, that when you Google your own name, if you've got a good profile on LinkedIn, it usually comes up at the top of the pack.
Yes, it does.
Top three,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. So I just Googled my own name, and the top was my Google My Business, and the next was my LinkedIn profile.
Awesome. Yep. All right. Well, that is our session for tonight. Hopefully that's been helpful. For some, it'll be a reminder of some of the things we've spoken about before, but certainly if you're doing stuff the old way, like that was working 2 or 3 years ago, probably time to just do a bit of a revisit and update so that you've actually got a marketing process that's working for you online. Don't ignore your socials, absolutely essential these days, and also getting yourself into Google. Those first couple of pages in Google is essential as well too. And remember, what's the golden rule there as well too, in terms of when people get to your website, what do you want from them? Their email address.
Emails,
Always get that email address. So that's what you're doing. Once you've got the email address, all your marketing after that is free, from the sense that you're not having to pay for clicks to get there.
And put their email address somewhere better than on one of these.
Indeed. Yes. Yep. All right. Well, that is our session tonight. Thank you, Michael. Everyone, now is a good time to save that chat. You save the chat by clicking those 3 dots on the bottom right-hand side of chat. That'll have all the links in that we spoke about earlier on as well too. And our prize draw today is we do have an offer there from Andrew, who was on the call. I think he's just dropped off now, but he's got an event coming up next year. And it is a event on how to become a published author in your business. So he was speaking about that last week, and he's kindly offered up a ticket to that for $297. I've been to that, well worthwhile going to, and that's our prize for tonight. So shall we spin the wheel?
Spin away.
Let's spin the wheel. All right. So as ever, all our names are in the wheel.
Take Paul's name out. He's won too many times.
Oh, I have not.
And David. David Horwath. Are you here, David? I think he's still here.
Well, his name's there.
There we go. Saw his name.
He's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Did he just, maybe he's sort of just disappeared in the
Oh,
excitement.
hang on.
Oh, there he is. Perfect. There we are. All right. Well, David is the winner there. Congratulations, David. What we'll do is we will connect you up with Andrew by email tomorrow, and you have a free ticket to the event, which
Fantastic.
comes up March next year. And you too could be a published author.
Brilliant,
All
Nick.
right.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, pleasure. All right, well, that's our session for tonight. As ever, now's a good time to save the chat if you haven't done it. If you want to watch the replay on this, it will be up on the SmashGo YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon. If you're not a subscriber there, we'll pop a link into chat now, and you can go and subscribe to the channel. If you click the little bell after you subscribe, then you'll also get a notification when it is has been uploaded. And if you're not a member of the Business Owners Smashing Online Facebook group, the link is in chat now as well too. Go and join that. That's where we put some of these apps and tools and we announce the next event. But apart from that, go and have a sensational evening, and we'll see you next week.